Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Seeds are planted every day. Wanna let them cultivate. Gotta lay the groundwork. Put in work and watch it grow. Enjoy your fruit and overflow. Gotta lay the groundwork. Hey guys, it's your girl Tony Ringgold. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday evening. So listen, I was going to be on here a lot earlier, but I had some clients that I had to take care of. So I wanted to still be a woman of my word and do this show tonight. This show, as you can see, is just your girl. And, sometimes I have guests on and then sometimes I just like to talk. And so if you can hear me, just let me know if you can hear me. Say I can hear you. Give me a thumbs up or something like that. That would be wonderful. Tonight we're going to talk about something that's very, very important. It is talking about faith. I know a lot of times people equate faith with religion and then they don't like talking about it. It can be a taboo conversation because everybody believes in something, right? And sometimes people don't believe in anything. However, I believe that there is so much power in faith. Listen, starting this business has been a huge faith move. It's something that probably is one of the biggest, I would say, business accomplishments of my life, right? But it also comes with a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty, and the ebbs and flows and ups and downs of being in business, especially being a new business, being a brand new business owner. Um, as many of you know, I do own Space Create Interactive Studios, but I've also had a business, which is my baby, T. Ringgold Academy of Arts. I've had that for 10 years, actually, next month. So I'm super excited about celebrating that. But nevertheless, I do want to talk to you guys a lot tonight about the power of faith. For me, faith has been a very important part of my life. I don't know where I would be without God. Now, I can't speak for everybody else, but I can only speak for me. And so tonight I want to talk a little bit about some of the key components of faith and how to use faith to activate you to reach your next destiny and your next part, whatever you're trying to be in life, wherever you're trying to go. You need to have something to hold on to. Now, as we all know, faith, or I should say, situations in life cause us to lose faith sometimes. I can honestly tell you that I've experienced that more times than not. But what I can say is that when I don't activate faith or I don't walk in faith, that's when things go, all hell breaks loose, right? And so, one of the first points that I want to bring up to you is, you know, people say faith that, believing in the substance of things not seen, and that's true. But one very important component of faith is to understand that faith sees things as it is. In order to activate your faith, you have to honestly look at your life for what it is in that moment. No matter how ugly it is, no matter how much you are questioning where you're supposed to go, no matter how grim the outlook may be, it's important to truly view it for what it is, because if you don't, you won't have a way to activate. And so what I mean by that is, if you find yourself in a situation where you don't know how your bills are going to get paid, you can't walk around here aimless acting like you have money when you know you don't. If you're trying to figure out what's the next big move in your life, you need to look at yourself truly for where you are in order to gauge it. Faith looks at things truthfully, but it doesn't get scared when it looks at those things truthfully. What it does is it says, okay, this is where I'm at, right? And then it brings me to my next point. Faith sees things as it could be, right? If you're standing in a fog and you can only see 100 feet ahead of you, that's all you can see. But if you make that move for that next 100 feet, guess what's going to happen? It might be 200 feet of fog, but you've made progress. And so faith is taking those things that, okay, I see what this is, but I also can clearly see what it could be. For example, when I started writing this grant, right? At that point, the rug was completely removed from up under me. At that point, I was at one point in a brick and mortar building. I was subleasing from someone, and I found myself, that person, needing their spot back in my home and teaching virtually. And I had built up so far to get out of that spot, only to be back there again. I had to look at myself clearly and look at my situation clearly in order to activate my faith. My next point was to say, okay, I see where I am right now. Right now I'm teaching at home. It's cool. I have virtual students, but I really want to be able to reach out and touch my students when I teach them. I really feel like I could be more effective if I had my own place. And I don't ever want to be in a position again where someone else can tell me where I can have my business. So at that moment, that's when I started to see things as they could be. I started to say, you know what? All right, this is where I'm at right now, but I could see myself in my own place. And once you start visualizing that, once you start activating that in your mind and you start manifesting it, as some people say, then it unlocks doors that were once shut, because now you're able to visualize. And if you can see it, you can do it. If you can see it, you can be it. And so, although I didn't have the money to open up a brick and mortar, although I didn't have the resources to be able to do it, I could see it clearly. And so once I began to see it, my spirit was open, right? And it seemed like as soon as I was able to write down in that notebook that I would never be in that position again, and the next place that I would be a place that I own. The next thing I know, here comes this grant, right? And so if you understand that if I can see it, I can do it, that's the very next step. At that point, it's time to take action, right? And so it brings me to this next point here. There is a thin line between faith and folly. Okay. So what I mean by that is, people say, "Oh, I got faith that I'm gonna be a billionaire." Okay, I got faith that I'm gonna be a millionaire. You can be, but not overnight, right? There's going to be some trials and some tribulations. There's going to be some work that's going to have to be put in. There are going to have to be some failures and some triumphs in order for you to get to that spot. It don't happen overnight. When doing the podcast, building this up, it's not going to happen overnight. Do I see myself having thousands of followers, maybe even millions of followers one day? Absolutely. Do I have millions of followers right now? Absolutely not. So it would be ludicrous for me to think that if I'm on here right now, I'm supposed to have thousands of people watching my podcast. No, I understand that it takes work, that there are steps, right, that you have to take in order to get there. So, in order to get to your next level, you have to understand that you have to be realistic. Faith is not one of those things where you just come out and say, okay, I'm just going to do, you can do the impossible, but you have to understand that there are realistic steps to take in order to get there. And so um I can tell you about a moment where I had some crazy faith, though, because there's levels to this. I remember when I got divorced, I went through a lot financially, and I had all three of my kids, and at the time I was getting no help um, at all for my children. And I still had my business, but it was going through some ups and downs. As any business owner and entrepreneur knows, you're going to go through some ups and downs of business. One month you might have a huge month. The next month it might be slim to none. So it's important to be a good steward of your finances, because, baby, the sun is shine, but the rain is definitely gonna come. Okay. And so during this time, I had $0 and 0 cents to my name, but I needed to be able to go get some food for my kids. And so I was in the bed, and dropped the kids off and lay back down. And I heard something say, "Get up, and get the kids." And I fought with that. I mean, get up and go to the store. And I fought with that thing tooth and nail. I was like, no way, no way. I'm not doing that. That's crazy. I don't have any money. But I kept hearing that voice say it over and over again. So at the time, my daughter was in pre-K, and so she got out of school early. And I went to go pick her up, and then I could not bring myself to drive home. So I drove to the grocery store, and I was in HEB, my favorite store in the world. Sponsorship? No. I was in my I was in HEB, my favorite store in the world, and I remember whew, story gets me a little emotional, but I'm all right. I remember going through the aisles and putting food in the basket. And my daughter, I given her my phone. She was little. I given her my phone so she wouldn't see me cry. And I would, as soon as the tears would drop, I would wipe them real quick. And she'll look up and start talking to me, and I'll talk to her. And then she would get back on the phone, and I would cry. And I was shopping, wiping tears, shopping real quick so she wouldn't see her mama cry. And I got all the way done. And I mean, it was like I filled my basket to the brim. And I was like, why am I doing this? It's something, what is wrong with me? But I kept hearing that voice, get your food. And so I got to the register and I was like, all right, Lord, what is really happening here? Are you just telling me to overdraft my account? You want me to write a hot check? Like, what's happening? And I tell you, as right hand up, I was putting my stuff on the conveyor belt, and it was a little old lady who was in front of me. She had like the little fluffy cotton ball hair that was like in between purple and gray. And she stopped what she was doing and she looked at me and she said, "Huh, you're the one. I was waiting on you. You're the one that I saw in my prayers this morning." I said, "What?" She said, "Yes." And she paid for my groceries. And not only did she pay for my groceries, she handed me $500. See, that's that kind of stuff that you can't make up. That's that kind of stuff that lets you know that God is real and that there is so much power in faith. Because see, that $500 got me to my next space and then my next level and then the level after that. And so sometimes, in life as we grow, right, and we experience things, we kind of forget about those moments. As you it seems like the more successful you become, sometimes the easier it is for you to forget about those moments where you had to activate that crazy faith. And for me personally, I know that that's been times for me that I've forgotten about those moments and I had to be reminded. See, faith doesn't make it easy. Faith makes it possible, right? It doesn't say that everything is going to come to you overnight. What it says is that even though things may be hard and even though you may not see your way out, it is still possible for you, right? It doesn't mean that the Bible says faith without works is dead. And I know that everybody doesn't believe in the Bible. I'm not here to sway anyone on what their belief system is. I can only tell you what has worked for me. See, when I started this business, right? I think I had a little bit of folly because I just was expecting things to just pop off regular. Like, hey, just like it's easy for me to do the voice lessons and get clients. I thought it was going to be like that with space creating. What I'm learning is that with any startup, it takes time. And so there were times where I really got afraid because I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How is the business going to stay afloat? What do I need to do for this? And I found myself starting to panic. But I got to that point of realization that, hold on, girl, if you could have came from this and from here and from this point and from this point and from this point, how, how dare you doubt where you are right now? I got tired of getting frustrated and crying and getting worried, and I had to activate my faith again. And I wanted to share this message with somebody tonight because I know that I'm not the only one who is experiencing some type of difficulty in their life. It may be a stretching period, but faith is designed to grow you internally. See, when things are going crazy around you, it feels unstable. Faith is designed to stabilize you. It's designed to strengthen you. Those life situations are not permanent. If you just take a moment, and I want you to just take a moment and think about 10 times in your life where faith was activated, where things that didn't necessarily make any sense happen to bring you to your next level. The next time that you get ready to doubt, because trust me, I'm doing this myself, and you get worried about what's going to happen, I dare you to just sit down and write. All right. So I remember when this happened. I remember when this happened, and that didn't make no sense. But I came out of that. And I remember when this blessing came. And even for me, it's like the faith that was activated for this grant, and to be able to say, okay, I'm sitting here in a place that I actually own. And I'm doing my podcast. I'm doing all the things that I said that I wanted to do. Right. Those are the moments that you have to come back to yourself and say, okay, obviously, I have 100% track record of making it. You're not dead, right? You still here. You still growing. You still pushing. So whatever it was that came up, it didn't kill you though, right? So if it didn't kill you and you still here, don't that mean you got 100% track record? So the next time you start to get fearful about what's happening and how it's going to happen, even if it doesn't work, see, that's the thing, because sometimes we equate faith with it working out exactly how we want it to. But think about all those times where it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, but then it ended up working out better for you in the end. Faith is not connected to what you want life to be and what you want your desire, the desires and how you want it to plan out. Yes, we have desires of our heart, we have purpose, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be the way we want it to be. Who told you that things are supposed to happen exactly the way you want it to happen? Who said that? When has that ever happened? There are going to be struggles, there are going to be trials, there are going to be tribulations, but then there are going to be victories and triumphs, right? And so that's what life is about. Life is a mystery. It's an adventure. It's a journey. It's exciting. And so I definitely want to encourage each and every person tonight that no matter what it is that you're facing, and no matter what it is that you're going through, I ain't gonna be here long because I gotta go get my baby some cleats. Or what is it? Spikes. Bags of spikes. Yeah, spikes. He's in track. And it's so funny because we had a conversation with him this week because he's been going out for track. It's his first time ever doing it. And he was a little frustrated because he felt like he didn't make the team. And I told him, I said, well, you know what, son? I said, go back out there anyway and try again. And even if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't matter because that means it's just an opportunity for you to get better, for you to grow, work that much harder, and do what you want to do. We had that conversation last night. This afternoon, he calls me. He's like, Mom, guess what? I'm running in the track meet tomorrow. I said, what? You doing what? You never know how things are going to pan out. You just never know. And I think that's the beauty of it. Here's the thing about faith. Faith is understanding that even if it doesn't work out, even if the failures happen, it's understanding that no matter what, you still are enough. No matter what, you still got it. No matter what, you still that girl, you still that guy, right? It doesn't your worth is not determined by, or your value is not determined by your accolades and by your successes. Your value is determined by who you are, by your character, by your integrity, how you treat people. That's what really matters. And faith, that's what it builds. It builds your character. It builds your endurance. It builds your strength. And I'm not saying you're not gonna get tired sometimes, because babe, you gonna get tired. I'll be tired. I think that when I cry, that's what I say the most. I'm tired. Because I just be like, man, woo. But this is the life I chose. Because being a business owner, this is what it is. You're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs, right? And so it doesn't mean that you won't be tired, but the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to the one who endureth to the end, the one that still sticks it out to the very end, to the last morsel of strength, to where you don't have anything left, and then you still give some more. That's who the race is given to. We watched this movie called Creed 3. Oh my God. If you have not seen it, please go see it. Please go see it ASAP. And bring your kids. and bring your family members, bring any. I mean, it was great. There was a part in the movie that for me was very poignant. Yes, Kevin said it was an amazing movie. It really, 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 really was. It was a fantastic movie. And the part that really stuck out to me was when Duke was sitting there and he was talking to Adonis. And he was telling Adonis, he was like, you got broken ribs. This part of your body's messed up. How many concussions have you had? You done got knocked out this thing. I mean, he was running down his body to him like, man, you are broken. Okay. And Adonis was like, okay. He didn't, in that moment, he did not fold. He didn't say, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't do it. Yeah, I did break that bone, and yeah, those ribs were cracked, and yeah, I did get hit in my head quite a few times. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Nah, he didn't do that at all. He rose to the occasion. And in the end, he was victorious. And so that is a testament to anyone, right? That no matter what it looks like, no matter how much you've been through, no matter how many times you've fallen down and gotten back up, if you get back up and you continue to fight, you will win. What that win looks like, it may be different. It may be your win, may not be my win, but getting back up is always worth it. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I appreciate all of the support and all the love throughout this entire process. But I'm gonna tell you, a part of groundwork and laying the foundation is having some sort of faith in something. You need to make sure that you are grounded, that you have something to believe in outside of yourself. Because if you only believe in yourself and your abilities, you're gonna be a distraught person because things don't always work out. So you got to have something bigger than you to attach yourself to. You have to have something bigger than where you stand to attach yourself to. And whatever that is and whatever that looks like, that's not for me to tell you. But I will say that it's important to have faith. So I'm not going to stay on here long. I'm about to get off. I feel like I preached a little bit. uh, but I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Groundwork. I'm your host, Tony Ringo. Now, listen, we're going to be on here doing a show once a week. I'm looking for more wonderful guests to come in, but I just wanted to talk to you tonight, solo dolo, talk to you guys about some of my experiences, and hopefully listening to this podcast has encouraged you in some way. So we're going to hit these back up. Faith sees things as it is, looking at your situation truly for what it is in that moment. Faith sees things as it could be, taking an honest look of where you are, but visualizing yourself somewhere else, right? There's a thin line between faith and folly. While activating your faith, don't be no fool now. Be realistic, but have those attainable goals. And lastly, faith doesn't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. If you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to activate your faith, baby, I promise you, whatever it is that you're trying to get to, if you are putting in those steps and really getting and really, really putting in the work. All right, let me just say that. Really putting in the work, I guarantee you that you can get there. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get off of here. I'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning into Groundwork. I'm your host, Tony Ringold. Good night.